Rise, my apprentice.
Anakin Skywalker, a young boy growing up on Tatooine, lives a challenging life as a slave to Watto, a Toydarian junk dealer. Despite his circumstances, Anakin's natural talents shine through as he becomes the most skilled pod racer on the planet. He's a mechanical prodigy, constantly tinkering with droids and speeders, and he builds his own pod racer from spare parts. At the age of 10, he wins his first major pod racing championship, an unprecedented feat for someone so young, earning the attention of local pod racing enthusiasts and gamblers alike. By the time he reaches 19, Anakin has built a reputation across the Outer Rim as the best pod racer in the galaxy. His fame grows, bringing in enough winnings to buy his freedom and his mother's. They move into a small home, and for the first time, Anakin feels a sense of independence. Yet, despite his success, he harbors a lingering resentment toward the Republic for its lack of action against slavery in the Outer Rim. He sees the Republic as distant, bureaucratic, and unconcerned with the suffering on the fringe worlds. Anakin continues pod racing, taking opportunities to race off-world, and begins to dream of something greater. He's not content to just race. He wants to make a difference, to help people, but he has no idea how. When the Clone Wars break out, he watches from the sidelines, seeing the galaxy tear itself apart. He learns more about the conflict and becomes intrigued by the Separatist cause, viewing it as a potential force for change, especially since they seem willing to challenge the Republic's authority. Anakin's pod racing career takes him off Tatooine and into the wider galaxy. He begins to compete in high-stakes races on different planets, gaining more fame and wealth. During one such event on the planet Malasteri, the race is interrupted by a fierce battle between the Republic and Separatist forces. As the fighting spills over into the racetrack, chaos ensues. Republic starfighters and Separatist droids engage in combat overhead, and explosions scatter the spectators. Caught in the middle of the chaos, Anakin sees an opportunity. He jumps into his pod racer, using his incredible reflexes and mechanical prowess to navigate the battle zone. With quick thinking and daring maneuvers, he manages to evade both sides and help evacuate stranded civilians. But in doing so, he catches the attention of the Separatists, particularly Count Dooku, who is overseeing the battle from his flagship. The Separatists are losing ground, and the Republic forces are on the verge of claiming victory. Seeing the devastation around him, Anakin decides to intervene. He pilots his pod racer in a way no one has ever seen, using it to disrupt Republic forces, knock out key targets, and turn the tide of the battle. With his skill and precision, he manages to force a Republic retreat, giving the Separatists a much-needed win. Intrigued by this mysterious pilot, Dooku orders Anakin brought to him. Recognizing the young man's potential, and impressed by his ability to affect the outcome of a major battle, Dooku sees more than just a skilled pilot. He senses a powerful presence in the Force. For Anakin, this is a pivotal moment. For the first time, he feels like he has made a real difference. Anakin is brought aboard Count Dooku's flagship after the battle. Despite his initial apprehension, he agrees to meet with the Separatist leader. Dooku is cordial and polite, expressing admiration for Anakin's skill and bravery. He subtly probes Anakin's background, learning about his life as a slave and his resentment toward the Republic for its lack of action against slavery. Sensing the young man's distrust, Dooku makes a proposition. He offers Anakin a chance to join the Separatist cause and help bring about change. However, Anakin hesitates. While he is disillusioned with the Republic, he has never considered himself a soldier or a revolutionary. The idea of aligning himself with the faction at war, even if they oppose the Republic, is daunting. He questions Dooku's motives, wary of being manipulated. Anakin has always been independent, and the thought of becoming just another pawn in someone else's game doesn't sit well with him. Dooku, sensing Anakin's indecision, does not push further. Instead, he offers a more personal appeal, acknowledging the boy's potential and the power he can sense within him. He asks Anakin if he has ever wondered why he is different, why he can do things no other pilot can. Dooku hints that there is a greater destiny awaiting him, a power he can learn to harness if he chooses. Yet Anakin still holds back, conflicted between his desire to make a difference and his fear of stepping into a world of conflict he doesn't fully understand. The encounter leaves Anakin with more questions than answers. He returns to his ship, troubled and unsure of what path to take. For now, he decides to continue racing, trying to push aside the encounter and the enticing but dangerous offer Dooku has presented. But the seed has been planted, and Anakin finds himself thinking more and more about what he could achieve if he accepted Dooku's offer. Anakin's next big race takes him to the bustling planet of Raxus, a hub for Separatist activity and a place known for its political intrigue rather than pod racing. After winning the race, Anakin is approached by a mysterious figure who invites him to a private gathering. At first, he hesitates, but curiosity gets the better of him, time, and he follows the stranger to a secluded meeting place where Count Dooku is waiting. Dooku congratulates Anakin on his victory, expressing admiration not just for his skill, but for his audacity in the recent battle on Malastari. He reveals that he has been following Anakin's career closely and believes there is more to the young man than meets the eye. Anakin, still wary of the charismatic leader, listens carefully as Dooku begins to speak not of war, but of destiny. Dooku explains that Anakin's extraordinary reflexes and skills aren't just talents, they are manifestations of the Force, a mystical energy that binds the galaxy together. Seeing Anakin's confusion, Dooku elaborates further, explaining that the Force is what gives Jedi their powers, and it is something Anakin has a natural connection to. Dooku offers to prove it by testing Anakin's blood, revealing a midi-chlorian count that is off the charts. When Anakin mentions that he never knew his father, Dooku's suspicions are confirmed. Anakin is the chosen one, a being prophesied to bring balance to the Force. With this revelation, Dooku sees an opportunity. He tells Anakin about the prophecy, but he frames it through his own perspective, suggesting that the galaxy is out of balance because of the corruption and oppression propagated by the Republic. He speaks of the separatist movement, not as a rebellion, but as a righteous cause seeking to free the galaxy from the chains of a failing government. He tells Anakin that with his power, he could help bring about a new era of peace and justice, the kind that the Republic has failed to provide. Anakin is overwhelmed by all this new information. The idea of being the chosen one seems impossible to him, and yet he can't deny the truth in Dooku's words about the Republic's failings. Dooku senses his hesitation and decides to make his offer simple. He will train Anakin in secret, teaching him to use his powers, so that when the time is right, he can make his own decision about how to use them. This way, Anakin can explore his potential without immediately committing to the separatist cause. Eager to understand more about his abilities and driven by the desire to make a difference, Anakin agrees. Anakin's secret training under Count Dooku continues over the following months. He becomes more attuned to the Force, his powers growing stronger with each lesson. Dooku teaches him to channel his emotions, using them to enhance his abilities, and Anakin excels. The skills he once used to dominate the podracing circuits now make him a formidable warrior, and he learns to wield a lightsaber with impressive speed and precision. During this time, Anakin still races, using the sport as a cover for his secret meetings with Dooku. But Dooku sees that the galaxy is at a tipping point, and he knows the time for subtlety is coming to an end. One day, after a particularly grueling training session, Dooku confides in Anakin about a dark truth: the existence of Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord who has been manipulating the Republic from the shadows. He reveals that Sidious is the true mastermind behind the Clone Wars, playing both sides against each other to consolidate his own power. Dooku tells Anakin that Sidious must be stopped, but the task cannot be accomplished alone. Dooku himself was once a Jedi, but he claims that the Jedi Order has been too blinded by their own dogma to see the real threat. He insists that with Anakin's power, they can overthrow Sidious and bring true peace to the galaxy. This is the moment Anakin has been waiting for, a chance to make a difference on a galactic scale. Anakin accepts Dooku's call to action, fully committing himself to the cause. The two of them begin to devise a plan to confront and kill Sidious. However, this decision marks a point of no return for Anakin. He is no longer just a podracer or a young man looking for purpose. He is stepping into a world of power, deception, and danger, where the stakes are life and death. Anakin's alliance with Dooku leads to a series of covert operations, each one carefully designed to ensure that no one, not the Republic, not the Separatists, and especially not Sidious, learns of his existence. Dooku knows the danger of exposing Anakin too soon, understanding that if Sidious were to discover the presence of such a powerful individual, their plans would be ruined. Anakin's missions are conducted in the shadows, with precision and secrecy, always leaving behind a trail that leads nowhere. One of their early missions takes them to the industrial world of Hypori, where Dooku has received intelligence about a hidden facility linked to Sidious. Anakin is tasked with infiltrating the factory and sabotaging its production line, crippling Sidious's ability to produce advanced battle droids. The mission is perilous, requiring stealth and strategy, but Anakin's skills as a mechanic and his growing mastery of the Force allow him to navigate the facility unnoticed, setting explosives and escaping just before the factory is reduced to rubble. No one suspects a rogue pilot. All the signs point to internal sabotage, maintaining Anakin's anonymity. As Anakin continues these secret missions, he sees firsthand the extent of Sidious's manipulation. He uncovers supply chains and communications that reveal the Sith Lord's control over both sides of the conflict, orchestrating battles to fuel chaos and maintain his grip on power. Through these missions, Anakin begins to see a clearer picture of the war, and his resentment toward the Republic deepens. But he also starts to question his assumptions about the Jedi. During a mission on the remote moon of Renvar, Anakin observes a skirmish between Republic forces and a group of Separatist soldiers. Hidden from view, Anakin watches as the Jedi leading the Republic troops, Master Kit Fisto, does everything he can to minimize casualties, even going so far as to spare wounded Separatists. This behavior is far from the ruthless, dogmatic image Dooku had painted of the Jedi. Anakin sees a side of them he didn't expect: compassion, mercy, and a desire to end the conflict without unnecessary bloodshed. Though he doesn't intervene, the encounter lingers in his mind, challenging the beliefs Dooku has instilled in him. As his training progresses, Dooku continues to push Anakin to harness his emotions, especially his anger and frustration, to strengthen his connection to the Force. But Anakin struggles with the darker aspects of this training, particularly as he starts to see more of the galaxy. Each secretive mission reveals more about the people affected by the war, and Anakin finds it harder to reconcile Dooku's teachings with what he witnesses. He begins to wonder whether the war can truly be won by more violence, or if there is another way to bring peace. Despite his growing doubts, Anakin remains committed to Dooku's plan to confront and overthrow Sidious. The missions continue, each one striking a blow to Sidious's unseen empire, but Anakin's inner conflict deepens. Dooku notices the change, but assures Anakin that his hesitations are merely signs of weakness that he must overcome. The Sith Lord frames these doubts as distractions, remnants of the Republic's influence, but Anakin is no longer certain. For the first time, he wonders if there might be more to the Jedi than he has been told, and if peace can be achieved without plunging the galaxy further into darkness. As Anakin's covert missions continue, Dooku decides that the time has come to initiate their final plan against Darth Sidious. Before proceeding, Dooku intensifies Anakin's training. They retreat to a hidden location, a remote facility on Sereno, where Dooku pushes Anakin to his limits, drilling him in lightsaber combat and the use of the Force. This is the most rigorous training Anakin has ever endured, and Dooku makes it clear that this is not just about mastering skills, it's about preparing for the greatest threat they have ever faced. Dooku reminds Anakin that Sidious is a master of deception, a being who has manipulated an entire galaxy, and to defeat him, Anakin must be willing to embrace his power fully, no matter the cost. Yet during this time, Anakin's inner conflict grows stronger. The more Dooku pushes him to embrace the dark side, the more Anakin questions what he is becoming. He reflects on the things he has seen, the suffering caused by the war, the families torn apart, and the moments of compassion he has observed from those he was taught to see as enemies. He doesn't voice these doubts to Dooku, but they linger, gnawing at the edges of his mind. As part of their preparation, Dooku reveals more about the Sith, their history, philosophy, and the rule of two. He tells Anakin that the Sith believe in strength and the pursuit of power as the means to bring order, but Anakin hears echoes of the same manipulative tactics Sidious uses to control the galaxy. Still, he knows he cannot back down now. He has committed himself to this path, and stopping Sidious is the only way to end the war. The plan is set. Anakin and Dooku will travel to Coruscant in secret, using old trade routes and stealth ships to avoid detection. Their objective is to infiltrate Sidious's lair, confront him, and bring an end to his reign. But Anakin insists on one last stop before they leave: Naboo. During one of his earlier missions, Anakin had a brief but intense encounter with Senator Padme Amidala. They had spoken in secret, with Anakin disguised as a simple pilot, and she had challenged his view of the war. She spoke passionately about the need for peace, about how the Republic could be reformed, and how the people on both sides were suffering because of the conflict. Her words stayed with Anakin, stirring feelings he hadn't understood at the time. Now, as he prepares for the most dangerous mission of his life, he feels the need to see her again. He tracks down her location and arranges a clandestine meeting on Naboo, away from the eyes of both the Republic and the Separatists. Padme is wary, but agrees to meet. During their conversation, Anakin opens up more than he ever has, telling her about his past, his frustrations, and his connection to the Separatists, leaving out Dooku's name. He confesses that he's not sure what will happen next, but he wants to believe there can be a future beyond the fighting. Padme listens, and with her characteristic compassion, she tries to show him a different perspective. She tells Anakin that violence won't heal the galaxy, it will only deepen the wounds. She challenges him to think about what kind of peace he's fighting for, and if it can really be achieved through more destruction. Her words resonate deeply with Anakin, striking at the core of his doubts. For the first time, he starts to imagine a future where he is not just a weapon, but a person who can help build something better. As they part ways, Padme leaves Anakin with a simple, heartfelt message: if you want to bring peace, you need to stop the fighting, not fuel it. Anakin returns to Dooku, ready to face Sidious, but now with a new resolve. He has come to a decision. If he succeeds in killing Sidious, he won't continue the war. He will find a way to end the conflict and rebuild something better. But he keeps this plan to himself. knowing that Dooku would never accept it. Anakin and Dooku arrive on Coruscant, slipping through the shadows of the underworld to avoid detection. Their destination is the Works, a decaying industrial sector on the planet's lower levels, known for its abandoned factories and hidden secrets. It is here, in the depths of this forsaken area, that Darth Sidious has established his lair, using the dark labyrinthine passages as the perfect cover for his operations. Navigating through the forgotten factories, Anakin and Dooku make their way deeper into the heart of the Works, their senses heightened by the oppressive atmosphere. They finally reach a secluded facility, concealed from the outside world, where Sidious orchestrates his plans in secret. The dark, echoing chamber is cold and silent, save for the occasional flicker of machinery. It feels like stepping into the very heart of darkness. As they enter, they find Sidious waiting, his hooded figure barely visible in the dim light. He greets them, his voice calm and mocking, as if he had been expecting this confrontation all along. Sidious reveals that he has known of Dooku's plotting for some time, taunting the Count for thinking he could outmaneuver the true master of the dark side. Sidious's eyes shift to Anakin, and for the first time, his tone changes. He senses the immense power within the young man and realizes that Anakin is no ordinary apprentice. He is the chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. The tension breaks, and the confrontation erupts into a fierce duel. Lightsabers ignite. Dooku and Anakin fight side by side, their movements fluid and precise, striking at Sidious from different angles. But Sidious is a master of the dark side, and he fights with a vicious elegance, using the Force to hurl debris, choke the air, and create an atmosphere of chaos around them. The chamber seems to tremble under the intensity of their battle, with shadows dancing and machinery sparking as the clash rages on. Despite their combined efforts, Sidious gradually begins to gain the upper hand, his dark mastery overwhelming even Dooku's skills. With a sudden, powerful strike, he disarms Dooku, sending the Count crashing to the ground. Sidious then turns his attention to Anakin, his eyes gleaming with a predatory curiosity. He speaks, his voice soft yet commanding, offering Anakin a choice. He acknowledges the conflict within him, the desire to bring peace, the thirst for power, and promises that together they can rule the galaxy. With Anakin's strength and Sidious's knowledge, they could end the chaos and create a new, ordered galaxy. For a moment, Anakin hesitates. Sidious's words are seductive, playing on his deepest desires and frustrations. The promise of power, of the ability to change the galaxy on his own terms, is a tempting one. But as he stands there, lightsaber in hand, he recalls his conversation with Padme. Her words echo in his mind, urging him to see beyond the immediate conflict, to find a way to truly bring peace without succumbing to the darkness. He realizes that Sidious represents everything he has been fighting against: manipulation, control, and a cycle of endless violence. Anakin's resolve hardens. He won't be a pawn in someone else's game, nor will he let the galaxy fall deeper into chaos. Summoning all his strength, he channels the Force, pushing Sidious back with a powerful wave of energy. The Sith Lord staggers, momentarily caught off guard, giving Dooku an opportunity to lunge forward, attempting to strike Sidious down. But in that instant, Anakin steps between them, his blade intercepting Dooku's. The Count is stunned, and Sidious laughs, thinking he has turned Anakin to his side. But then Anakin's expression changes, his eyes burning with determination. He sees the truth. Dooku and Sidious are both part of the same problem. Two sides of a coin that has brought nothing but suffering to the galaxy. In a swift, decisive move, Anakin kills Dooku and turns his focus back to Sidious. Sidious realizes too late that he has underestimated the young man. Anakin taps into the deepest reserves of his power, drawing on the strength of the Force not to dominate, but to end the cycle of violence. The air crackles with energy as he overwhelms Sidious, unleashing a torrent of raw, focused power. Sidious struggles to defend himself, but he cannot match the sheer intensity of Anakin's assault. In a final, crushing blow, Anakin strikes down the Sith Lord, ending his life and extinguishing the dark presence that had poisoned the galaxy for so long. The chamber falls silent, the echoes of the battle fading into the dark recesses of the Works. Anakin stands over the fallen bodies of Sidious and Dooku, breathing heavily. He has done what he set out to do, but the victory feels hollow. The war is not over, and the galaxy is still in turmoil. Yet for the first time, he sees a way forward, a path that does not lead to more destruction, but to rebuilding, to hope. But the sense of victory he expected is absent, replaced by a heavy silence. For a moment, Anakin is lost, unsure of what to do next. He realizes that with both Dooku and Sidious gone, the leadership of the Separatist alliance has effectively collapsed. The galaxy is at a crossroads, and the power vacuum left behind by the deaths of the Sith Lords could plunge everything into even greater chaos. Anakin knows that if he walks away now, the war will continue, driven by fear, confusion, and old rivalries. But then he remembers his conversation with Padme. Her words resonate within him, reminding him of the possibility of peace and the need to stop the endless cycle of violence. Anakin decides he cannot abandon the galaxy to a future of uncertainty and destruction. If there is to be peace, he must take control of the situation and use the opportunity to end the war once and for all. Anakin contacts the leaders of the Separatist Council using Dooku's secret communication channels. He reveals what has happened, framing it not as an assassination, but as a decisive moment to bring an end to the conflict. He tells them that Sidious, the mastermind behind the war, is dead, and with him gone, there is no reason for the galaxy to remain divided. The Separatist leaders are initially shocked, but Anakin's calm, confident demeanor reassures them. They see him not as a rogue element, but as the powerful, capable leader they need to navigate the aftermath of Dooku's death. Seizing this moment, Anakin takes command of the Separatist forces, consolidating power quickly and efficiently. He sends out secret orders to halt all military operations, effectively pausing the war. With the chaos of Sidious's death and the sudden halt of Separatist aggression, the Republic is left scrambling, uncertain of what has happened. But Anakin's actions have bought him time to reach out to the other side and propose a solution. Anakin sends a message to Padme asking for an urgent meeting. She is cautious but intrigued, agreeing to meet him on neutral ground. When they finally come face to face, Anakin explains everything. He tells her about his role with Dooku, the secret missions, the confrontation with Sidious, and his desire to see the galaxy restored to peace. He admits that he doesn't have all the answers, but he believes that together they can find a way to end the conflict and rebuild something better than what came before. Padme listens carefully, sensing the sincerity in Anakin's voice. She is shocked by the revelations, but also moved by his determination. Here is someone who has seen the darkest parts of the war, who has been manipulated and pushed to the edge, yet still chooses to seek a better path. She agrees to help, seeing in Anakin a partner who shares her vision for a more just galaxy. Together, they begin to draft a plan to bring the war to a close. Anakin uses his newfound authority over the Separatist forces to negotiate a ceasefire, while Padme leverages her influence within the Senate to open talks for peace. It is a delicate, challenging process, but their combined efforts start to shift the tide. Slowly, the galaxy begins to see hope, a possibility of an end to the endless battles, and a chance to heal.